good, people? I'm your host, Big Rich, and welcome to the All About Duality podcast. Trust me, you're gonna love it here. People are usually taught to believe that there's only one way of thinking. We're here to show that multiple thought processes can coexist at once peacefully. What's good, people? It's your host, Big Rich, and welcome to the All About Duality podcast. Trust me, you're gonna love it here. I'm here with a few nearest and dearest of people to me.
My name is Alex. Oh yeah, my name's Alex.
I'm Amir Sukram.
I'm alyasa-gk.
Wickedness increased. Anyway, so we're here for All About Duality. We're just gonna jump right into things and try to get this episode spicy and started. Space, guys. We're gonna talk about space and hopefully jump into a few other things surrounding that. But the first question I have for you guys is, do you think space is real? And you're going to be like, what do you mean by real?
I was literally going to say, what do you mean by
there you
real?
go. So there are some beliefs that what we were taught about, say rockets going straight up and out and into space may or may not have occurred the way that, the general public was taught. Either it didn't happen at all and it happened in studios and, like secret recordings. Was fake. Yeah.
But then, what do you mean by, okay, so they're studying space, right?
Allegedly.
Okay.
So
I'm just trying to understand, the other perspective.
So some people think that, for example, some people think that the Earth is flat.
Right.
And that we have a dome surrounding us, and you cannot penetrate that dome.
Like the Simpsons movie?
Essentially just like that, but in real life, there's other avenues where people think that water is above us, for example, and it's a different blockage for you to not still be able to get out. So water is above, water is below. That's why we don't know anything about what's below us. Apparently we don't know anything about what's above us. There's just a whole bunch of different perspectives. So I'll keep it as simple as possible. Do you guys think space is real? And then we'll jump into some other things from there.
Well, I would have to say that even in those cases, what's on the other side of the water in the sky, right?
Right.
And eventually, when you penetrate through all of whatever that is, what do you have, right? And if we're thinking about what it is space, what we think it is, all we really have to work on are basically all of the things that we're led to believe through images and videos and accounts of scientists and professionals and people and and I mean, if anybody who knows somebody who's in that kind of industry can kind of decide whether they want to go for what that person's vouching for, right? But aside from that, none of us know from a perspective or experience. But I think it definitely makes sense that there's some kind of vacuous space out there, and there's a lot of things that we can see through a telescope. Pretty close up, that kind of give us reason to believe that. Yeah.
Amira, what about you?
I mean, I don't think I ever considered the side that space isn't real before. So I'm a little mind blown sitting here. This is why I wasn't sure. I was I don't have much to talk about in space. And now I'm whoa, that's crazy. The idea that water is
above.
The reality, above, because sky is so blue, it just for me it does make sense, and so now I'm kind of
questioning
baffled.
Everything.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm wait, how can I conceptualize all of this now in my brain?
So think about it. Was the moon landing real? Do you believe that man has actually landed on the moon? Do you think those videos are real? Do you think they're produced in the studio? Can you see the strings? What's your perspective?
I definitely think man could land on the moon. It doesn't mean that what we saw was real.
Got you.
I have believed that up until this point. Maybe now you're flipping my reality.
I'm trying to. I'm going to flip it a little bit more. Do you believe that people are within Earth's, I guess, atmosphere, in the space that centered or station, the space station? Do you think that that's real? Do you think that we're really just floating around Earth doing all kinds of weird missions?
Are we floating around Earth?
Yeah.
So in terms of we're walking around. That's the idea of floating around Earth. Is that what you mean by that?
No. Like literally, like, you know, we have a space station that's supposed to be like
there are
just
things
outside
around.
of.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you
okay.
think that that's real? Do you think that that's production? What's your perspective on that?
Now I'm so confused because when we were talking about this, I was just like, oh yeah, like I want to talk about like solar flares and all these cool like space things that are going on now. And now I'm like, wait, are any of those real?
Dun, 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 dun.
Like,
Because all
it
we
would
know
be-
about space is what we've been shown.
I think
None of us
Yeah.
have been to space, so you can't. You
I
just
think
gotta
it'd be-
believe it or not.
it'd be more amazing if somebody made all that stuff up and created these graphics back in the 70s to make it look real. Like,
Right?
That's impressive photoshopping.
I'm
Like,
telling you. I'm
hey,
telling you.
George Lucas did it.
Yeah, Star Wars looks pretty real.
Yeah.
No, they could have, faked the moon landing. They could have just filmed it because it was, the rush to get to the moon. Who was going to get there? So it's easier to fake a video than it is to go to the moon, I guess.
yeah, there's definitely motive, and there's some
Yeah.
good kind of arguments towards it for people who break it down.
Yeah.
But regardless of whether that moon landing was fake, and it makes sense if it's because it was a space race, right? There's a likelihood that we've done something like that since then, or we've shot rockets around
Oh,
the
yeah.
moon and all this kind of crazy stuff, and we have people up there and stuff like that. But again, like, it's really just taking someone else's word for it, right?
Speaking of taking somebody's word for it, are we at all acknowledging flat earthers, guys? What's our perspective here? Oblong, maybe, if not even flat? Or is it just straight up, we're a giant floating ball? Where are we at with it, guys?
You guys are making me think that like science is more real in my mind than I thought it was.
Some deep realizations are occurring right now for you. I like this.
So if the Earth is flat, is it still in space?
I guess so. So like what do they say? So if they say the globe is protected, that dome, maybe that's what's helping protect us as we shoot along this humongous galaxy.
So in that case, does that mean that gravity doesn't exist? Because according to gravity existing, the world would be shaped into a ball because it's all collapsing in on itself.
See, now that we're gonna have to get one of them to let us know in the comments. How does that work? Because I don't know. I have no idea. Alexa, what do you think, brother?
I've heard a lot of crazy different theories. Like some people say the Earth is a donut. So
Wait, what's the theory that the Earth would be like a donut? Like, why would there be a hole in it?
So there's a giant hole at the top of like where Antarctica is, and apparently there's a whole other civilization that lives within.
Within.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there's like
So
a
who
story of
knows?
like this pilot who like flew over like Antarctica like 19 whatever years ago, and he said that he saw the opening. He wrote all these notes in his journal while he was doing it. He came back when he was debriefed. He let the government know about it, and they were like, no, we gotta like declassify this. You can't tell anybody. Keep it under wraps. Somebody allegedly found his journals not too long ago, started putting it out. So all his journals are basically saying, yeah, there's like this humongous hole in the earth. He saw like the equivalent of what woolly mammoth was, and then like further flying in, he saw like a futuristic city, allegedly, obviously, right? So yeah, people believe that there's a whole inner earth. There's others apparently amongst us or below us.
Curious part to that is also that most major countries in the world have some military presence on the border of Antarctica, and you cannot. You'll be stopped if you try to venture through there. So.
That's right. So that's another scary thing. We're not allowed to travel over to Antarctica by like just buying a plane ticket and going.
No planes fly over.
And there's only like one place you can go to visit, and it's like chartered, very specific where you stay. You can't explore. So it kind of makes you wonder what is really going on over there, right?
That's wild. And then my other thing is like, we call it a donut. Would it really be a donut, or would it be just a sphere with a hole in it?
Yeah, it would be a sphere with a hole in it. I
Okay.
think, but
Okay.
donut might
That's a
be.
funny
Tall
way.
donut,
Yeah, a very tall donut. That'd be a doughy donut.
I feel like donut's an easy way to make people just generally grasp what it is.
Think of the circle,
Yeah.
or the hole, yeah.
It's pretty much that, yeah. So, okay, I think we basically think that flat Earth is nonsense. There's a possibility of there being a hole in Antarctica, and there's a whole other civilization underneath us. Maybe we're not supposed to link up yet. That's why they keep trying to keep us away from them. Who knows? Maybe they see us as the cancer. Maybe we're amazing and they're hiding us away from our greatness.
I'm just like,
Who knows?
Maybe they're anonymous.
True. Ahead of the game. Ahead of the game. Anyway, I have another question for you guys regarding space. Black holes. So we've been taught about them from forever. I guess the unanimous thing would be that we don't know what's on the other side. So, guys, what's on the other side of the black hole?
So, like, what a black hole is like basically just an area in time space where gravity is so strong that not any light can get out of it. Right. And like it's like when some like stars collapse, then the pressure forms this black hole, and then other things get basically sucked in. If there's some kind of star or something passing by, it gets like ripped into like streaks and stuff and pulled into it, and then like so it's just a completely a space where nothing can kind of escape, or no light can escape or anything like that. So
if there is no light, that means there's no time.
Yeah, and I mean, does it lead? Do they lead somewhere? Some people think that maybe they are like a wormhole or something like that.
Into other dimensions and things like that, yeah.
Or is it just like a planet where it's just so strong gravity that you could like, if you were Goku, you could go there and train to be even stronger.
That's true, hyperbolic chamber type of thing. Yeah, I like that. I like
the way that Interstellar, if you guys have seen that movie, how they portrayed the black hole. Yeah, you should check it out. It's a...
Okay, how did they portray the black hole?
I guess it was like, I don't want to say time travel, because there's like time, I don't know if you think it's linear or if everything's happening all at once, just at different, like everything's happening, you can access the same different times.
Oh, at any moment.
At any
right.
moment. So.
Yeah, so like past, present, future is just like together.
Happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I love how we all agree that we understand that point.
All right, guys. Going on to the next one here. Very, I guess not as serious as the other ones, but aliens, guys.
How is this not as serious?
Well, I mean, based on where we've traveled so far, I feel like everybody's gonna kind of come to the same consistency or consensus. But do aliens exist, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All across the board?
Yeah.
All right, bet. So then let's just make this short and sweet here. If they do exist, to what extent do you think are they here amongst us, with us on Earth, walking, shape-shifting? Are they only visiting through the little sightings that we're getting? Talk to me, guys.
I think they were here before us.
Ooh.
I agree.
Or maybe there's some people that say like you know how there's all the missing links in humanity? Some people say like aliens mixed with humans, which like helped our evolution, help us like evolve and grow. So aliens could have been the missing link that came down and, you know.
Well, there's also the theory that life came from bacteria that was on an asteroid that came down to the Earth, right? So there's that aspect of it. Like, what if like when you're talking about aliens, are you just talking about walking, talking, telekinesis, like alien abduction aliens, or are you also talking about like other kind of levels of life form, like small single cell organisms or different things like that? Because there's no way that, I mean, we've observed some things like that come, like, for sure. I mean, I don't know, but maybe. And then yeah.
So like, what's the definition of alien then?
Anything that comes from extraterrestrial that has life, right? And biology. But
that would mean space exists.
It would.
Well, what I'm thinking of is that sinkhole in China, right? Like how there's new organisms and new animals in it. Do we call those aliens, or they came from our Earth, so they're not alien?
If they're from our Earth, they're just new to us, so not necessarily alien. That's my perspective anyway. If they can't identify it, it's probably something closer to alien. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like, is there? It like the fun part is the level of like, are there aliens that are as or more intelligent than us?
Right.
And I mean, what about UFOs being observed? There's a lot of stuff about UFOs being acknowledged by like former U.S. Air Force. Yeah. So like, that's interesting stuff. Like, that was like public announcements that were like basically muted by the turn of events in the past few years and all the drama popping off with everything else. But that's pretty big stuff there when some like really high profile people who haven't been like shut down by the government come out and say there's extraterrestrial life out there and we've made contact with them.
And all the Pentagon released all those documents that people could just Google and read themselves. So if you got to believe it or not, but it's just they're admitting it now. So and I've read recently they said there's more information that they don't want to tell the public because it would cause like a huge public scare. So I think they know a lot that they're not sharing with us. So I think in a couple years there might be some big events happening.
I always think about how in Stranger Things, have you guys all seen it?
Yeah, spoiler alert for
Stranger Things. Go ahead, 30 seconds if you haven't seen it. But season 2. So they talk about how to share something with the public, like they give the example of like vodka and water and how you have to put the water in to water down the information before it reaches the public. And I always think about that with like controversial news or things that like they don't want us to know kind of thing, is like how they water it down to a point where we can understand it. Because if something just like completely random happened, we wouldn't believe it. We need to be like eased into it. So I always think about that scene of Stranger Things because I feel like they are really onto something with that.
That was a direct message. Direct message. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing there.
Yeah. Well, like when you think about it, like the role of the government isn't to just tell us everything they know. It's to communicate something in a way to evoke the response that they need to get from the people, right?
Yeah.
So that's the role there. So it's like, to what level does it serve the interests of the government and kind of like what they're trying to do with this to tell everybody about it, right?
Yeah.
If there's no benefit, it's gonna, no matter what, it could be the best news. It could be like, we made contacts with aliens, they're cool, they're giving us technology, it's great, right? People would freak out.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And, so, or they could be like, yeah, there's aliens, we're not telling you anything about it. People have the same reaction, even though it could be that they're planning to destroy us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's me who's like, as a kid, I was really afraid of ET, so I never watched it, and I was really afraid of aliens. If the fact that like I had to see like a picture of an alien, I would probably freak out, even if I understood on some intellectual level that they should be real.
I bet you the only way that aliens would actually come to Earth and like show themselves to us would be if somebody made the wish that racism didn't exist anymore.
They would come because it'd be a whole set of new television for them. It's a whole new season of life right there. Oh my goodness. Anyway, guys, I think that's our cue into recess.
See you on the other side. Ding, ding, ding.
And we're back. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, guys, let's jump back right into this. So I was not even wasting no more time. Speaking of time, quick question for all of you guys. Is time linear? You gonna throw that little alley-oop up there? Who's catching the first dunk? Let me know.
Well, what's the other option? Is time linear or is it cyclical? Because there's the Buddhist thought that time is cyclical.
We're gonna add that one into the bunch. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and if it is linear, what is the implication of it being linear, right? Does that mean that time goes from A to B and it never experiences it again? And if it's cyclical, does that mean that things that have happened to certain people are going to happen again to those people at the same age? Is time going, is it a Groundhog Day of like a few millennia or something like that?
Valid question. What do you think?
I think if it's cyclical, it's probably not in that kind of repetitive way, but more of like patterns that happen and cycles of destruction and rebirth and whatnot. So not necessarily the same people being born in the same times, and like we go through the like medieval ages and like cowboy times and all that kind of thing all over again. But yeah.
Okay. Mara?
So I agree with that time is cyclical. I think in terms of my memories, I do understand them linearly, you know? Like I do see time that way in my memory.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that I perceive and conceptualize reality, right? But in terms of cyclical, I do believe, like, okay, we do live out those different timelines, like you said, different lives, and they don't happen all at the same time. But then I also believe in cyclical in a shorter span, maybe not a day. But I do believe that, like, you know, there's like this spiral we live through. And we do go over the same events again and again in our lives to see like how we've grown and evolved. And that goes with the karmic cycle of like the lifetimes that are different, right? But I do believe it happens within our lifetime as well.
Yeah, I agree with that to a point. You know, we do go through like the same events, well, not like the same, but similar events over and over and over again. It's just, we just react and learn and treat them differently. But I don't know. Is time even real? That's the.
So that was going to be the next question.
That's the.
Is time real or is time man-made? What do you guys think?
Time is
man-made.
Time is happening, but the way we perceive it, the way we like the 24 hours, we made that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to understand it better.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's maybe actually the 24-hour clock would be more of an observation of the cyclical nature of time, because we're saying, okay, well, in this amount of time, the whole day-night cycle repeats itself. So that could be this cyclical time kind of thing tying into that as well.
Yeah. And some days are longer than others, and each day isn't exactly 24 hours, which is why we have leap years. So.
I think also, like, not only do we, like, repeat that 24 hours and we go through that cycle of, like, sleep or whatever, but we also have hormones that go through that cycle in that 24-hour period. Things that are released in our bodies, neurotransmitters are released so that we can function in a day-to-day basis. There are many different ways to think about time.
Well, what about our perception of time? So like our idea of time is like past, present, and future, but the past is just it's basically just our memories, right? It's just and the future is just something that we made up based on our memories, and the only thing that actually exists is the present moment. So time is just this present moment that's ever changing, and because of our imagination, which creates our past and present, we don't remember things exactly as they happen. Every time we tell ourselves the story of something that happened, we're changing things a little bit, and every time we tell ourselves that story, we don't remember the story, we remember what we remember from the story. So we're constantly changing our recollection of this. So it's really, is time just our imagination and what we remember and what we fantasize about, right? Whether it's a terrifying fantasy of something fearful that might happen that we're obsessed with, or something that we want to achieve, or something like that.
Or a reoccurring dream, which we will get into later.
All right, so I'm going to drop you guys a little bit of knowledge or facts if you will, and then...
Are they facts? Are they your truth, or are they a truth, like a universal truth?
They are the media's version of the truth. I will leave it at that. So, apparently scientists have claimed that as of June 29th, 2022, the Earth spun faster than normal, making it the shortest day recorded since the 1960s. So, Earth spun faster at about 1.59 milliseconds, less than 24 hours. Okay? So, knowing all of that information and all that science and whatnot, do you think that the dream world is connected to this world, guys?
Well, I was going to say, what was happening in the 60s that is the same cycle of what's happening now?
Ooh, bars. I see what you're doing right now. I see what you're doing right now. And that is very, very possible. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Dream world connected to our world here?
People, well,
Or
I've
am I
heard
the
that
crazy?
in your dreams, it's just you're viewing your other lives in other universes. So there might be a
Multiverses.
connection between, like, because you're like the dream realm, the dream state. You're sort of like an out of body experience, I guess. For some people, that's how they would describe it. Seeing, you know, their other lives, their other universes. So I think there might be a connection there.
Well, you know, they say we have like 7 or 8 dreams. If we have 7 or 8 dreams in a night, we don't remember them each individually. We remember them all mishmashed into one. So that's why there's so many things in our dreams that make no sense at all. Like, yeah, this happened and that happened, and I don't know why you were there, but you were there, and you were, from this point on, really important to the plot of my dream. So like we remember things differently than they actually happen in the dreams. But I mean, from what we know about, or what we understand about the brain science of dreaming, is psychologically, when we're sleeping, when we're in the dream state, but when we go even deeper than the dream state, that's when our psychology starts unpacking everything, right? And then we sort through a lot of stuff. So if we don't get that deep enough sleep, you actually suffer from not being able to process everything, because it's too much to process with your conscious mind. So you have to go deep into these states, and maybe you remember some of those things as dreams as well. But in that respect, it's directly connected to this world, because everything that we experience in a dream is related to some emotional experience that we've had in real life. So that could even be looking at a situation in an abstract form, but in a way that lets you look at the situation in a completely different way and solve some problem that you couldn't do if you looked at it logically and reasonably. But you wake up in the morning and you feel different about something you were bothered with the night before.
So I could take that as a yes, that you believe that they are connected?
Yeah,
Got you. Okay. Amir, what do you think?
I mean, I think there are many different theories on dreaming that we will get into in a later episode. But my question to you, Alex, is, okay, so do you believe, or do you ever have dreams that are not from your perspective?
Do you mean like dreams where I'm the camera?
Like first person or third person?
Yeah, or even where you're not in your dream.
Yeah, like I'm the camera, and I'm not me, but I'm watching an event happen. Like I'm the camera of the TV show, and there's no cameraman behind the camera. It's just the perspective. So I've had that where I'm not involved in the dream, but I'm seeing the things happen.
Okay, so that's very interesting. Like with the perspective of like, and I guess it does make sense, because if this is like a multiverse we're living out, like our dreams are connected to reality, it does make sense that sometimes we are just the observer of something happening, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been the observer. I've always just seen it like third person, like things just happening to me. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like if I'm watching from above,
Right.
and I see things happening to me. So I've never just seen it from my point of view. I've just seen it from above.
Oh, you don't see first person in your dreams?
No.
Interesting.
I have seen from above. I've not been in my dream, and I've been the main character. So I feel like I've had all, and that is hard to explain in the fact that like our dreams are connected to our reality, because then like maybe the thought here is that it's not connected to our personal realities, but is connected to who we are, our souls, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You are
like,
the final dream boss. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
If I was the final dream boss, I'd just be the hand from Super Yes.
No, like, yeah, I was just about to say, like, that's really interesting, like, because if this was a dream, I wouldn't be seeing you guys like this. I would be seeing me like up there looking down at me looking at all of us.
See, I've never had a dream from that perspective.
I've never had it from the point of view perspective, so
Never.
I can't remember one example. No.
That's wild. So you see yourself.
Yeah.
That's very unique because
Yes.
I usually get the point of view. Yeah.
Can you control the camera and move around like in a game? Or are you just stuck in watching that perspective?
I think, yeah, sometimes it like moves around and like I see the different angles and stuff. And, yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
weird. I've
then
never really thought about it.
The question
before
is,
like that.
can you
That's-
control it though?
the camera?
Yeah, or does
I
it
don't
just
think
happen?
so. I think it just happens. And I'm
Okay,
just
so it's not like a
observing.
lucid dream.
No.
Alright.
And it's a proper camera. It's not like clipping in the wall. And stuff.
Proper
So
Alright.
does this go with like the hardworking Alyssa that we heard about? Is just like the hardworking camera angle of your dreams?
Maybe, maybe that ties into it. It's weird. I've never thought about that before. Because I thought everyone just saw themselves like third person in their dreams. I never asked anyone about that before.
This is why we are going to talk about dreams in another episode, because we all actually dream differently. But throwing it back to Big Rich now.
All right, guys, let's gonna get into another perspective surrounding time, if you will. So pretty much when you're a kid, time seems to be unlimited. There's never a rush. You have all the time in the world to do stuff. Obviously, you're rushed by your parents, but you got all the time in the world, basically, right? When you get older, time seems to escape you. It seems to go by quicker. So the question is, do we experience time faster or speeding up as we get older?
I think it's just when we're kids, we have less, I wouldn't say less on our minds, but we're more free. We're more just like living life. We're not worried about responsibilities or like paying bills or making money or going to work. But when you're older and you're just thinking about all these other stuff, it's like, I have to get all this done today. I have to do all of this today. So it seems like you don't have enough time because you're doing more than you were when you were a kid.
So you think responsibility creates a cloak of time going by faster almost?
I think so, because when I'm, like the last couple times I was on vacation, it felt like one of the longest weeks ever.
Okay.
Because I was just chilling. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything. I was just relaxing. I'd look at the time and be like, how has it only been like 30 minutes? I felt like I've been on this beach for hours.
Yeah. Alex, man?
Well, I actually think that I have a theory that when we're kids, we have less of a concept, like we only know, like you're a year old, you've only experienced a year of life. So your concept of a day is relative to how much time you've spent on the world. So that when you're 5 or 6, it's still really slow. So they're always complaining that they're bored and everything like that. And I remember just a couple hours taking a long time to go by, and I remember parents saying, "Oh, time flies by when you're having fun," and I was just thinking, like, this day has gone by forever, right? And then when you get older, I start to notice that time feels like it's a little bit quicker. Like even times when I don't have anything to do, I still feel like too much time has passed by for the time I've spent doing this. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like things kind of speed by a little bit, and I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a little bit of what I've experienced. But when I'm like 70, I'll probably be able to speak a little more on that.
Got you. With that said, we're going to recess. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Welcome back to All About Duality, the podcast where... No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, let's get back into this real quick. Just to recap where we were a little bit earlier, the question essentially is, do we experience time speeding up as we get older, or is it perceived that way based on responsibility that is added to you as you grow older in age?
All right, so I definitely agree with Alex in the responsibility thing. However, I will throw in another added aspect to this. So when we're children, we are learning everything, right? For the first time. It's new and it's exciting. And I feel like when we are excited and engaging in new things, like time almost slows a bit so we could be in that moment. But when we're older, it's like, oh, we've already perceived this before. We don't have to think about it as much. We already have our preconceived notions about it. We don't have to experience it in the same way we used to. And that speeds up the process of just being in reality and life and stuff. So that's my perspective. Yeah.
I like that one. That's real.
You know, actually, come to think, I was gonna be like, no, but actually, come to think of it, I was gonna be like, yeah, no, I'm excited about everything. It's, you know, but it's I do notice that when I'm training a skill like vaulting over and I'm trying to get something, I'll sit there and do it, especially if I'm filming it. I'll sit there and do it for like 90 minutes over and over and over and over and over, and it just goes by so fast because I'm mentally focused on what I'm doing. And it's funny because my moment to moment is actually slowing down time because or slowing down my perception because I'm trying to be focused on each moment of it so I can coordinate all the things that I have to do. If I'm trying to make a jump that's too far for me, then I've got to put my attention into everything that I have to do when I take off, when I'm in the air, and when I land, and my breathing and all this other things, and remind myself that after I take off to not stop thinking about what I'm doing and let autopilot kick in and screw up the landing, right? So so I do notice time, the slowing down of time during those moments where I'm doing something novel and putting a lot of focus and attention into it. But maybe it is we're so interested and so focused on what we're doing when we're kids, and when we're adults we're so much more distracted. So maybe being distracted from the moment is what speeds everything up.
Very interesting perspective.
That is duality. It is slow in the moment but goes by fast.
All about duality. Liza, perspective, anything?
No, pretty much, just what I said before with, I think when you're younger, you're just, less responsibilities, less things to worry about. But I also think, like, I notice with the older people, they do mention, like, death a lot more. So I think when you get older, you realize, like, my time is getting closer than it was when I was a kid, and there's all this stuff I have to do. Maybe, like, if there's all this stuff you want to accomplish or personal things you want to do with your life, like, oh yeah, I'm running out of time, gotta get it done. You're more aware of the time that's passing. But when you're a kid, you're just living life in the moment more, I guess.
This is also totally a perception thing because everyone thinks they're gonna live so long. Like, it's different for every person. Some people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be out of here early, so I'm gonna live this way, versus like somebody who's like, I'm gonna live forever, and they live a different way.
For me, it's like, I don't know, I could die tomorrow, so today I gotta do everything that I can. Like, I gotta get as much done. Because, like, there's a lot of personal things I want to do, like with my own art and music. And I know, like, if I'm not working on that, then, like, what am I doing with my time, you know? So I try to get as much done as I can in the shortest amount of time as possible, because I know tomorrow's not given, tomorrow's not promised, so you gotta get what you gotta get done.
It's kind of ironic how we speed up our perception of time when we become more aware of our mortality and how short of time we actually have left and what we want to do and all these kind of things. When like, I wonder if that has to be tied to productivity, right? Like, because if we've got so many things to do, maybe if we're focusing on the current thing that we're doing, then we can benefit from like being in the present and having time be a little bit slower, but not necessarily meaning like achieving that by not doing anything or accomplishing anything in life, right? I wonder if there's a direct correlation between that kind of ambition and time going by fast, or if we can do one of those things without it necessarily being connected to the other.
If time is man-made, then that is definitely the case by design. That's my opinion.
Capitalism.
There you go. All right, guys. So, jump into the next question real quick. Simulation. Are we living in one? Are we just bigger versions of The Sims? Sitting in an avatar? What are we doing right now, guys?
I think it's a possibility. I think, well, because this is the way I see it. The technology has advanced so much in such a short amount of time. Like if you look at video games, from Pong to what we have now, that happened so quick. So imagine 20, 30 years from now, the PS 10 or whatever, PS whatever you want to call it. We already have virtual reality video games. And right now they're working on this type of video game where you don't have to actually like hold the controller. It's just your whole living room will become the environment of the game. So you're just actually like immersed in the game. So I think like as technology advances, these games will become so indistinguishable from life that it'll seem like we are the Sims, you know? So I think like if that's the possibility, it's probably already happened. And if that has already happened, then we're the Sims in the video game right now.
So if you're in your living room, is your mind the controller?
Everything's the controller. You're just
You're
so
physical.
immersed to it.
Okay, so like whatever you think, like if you're like, oh, I think this is gonna happen, is it gonna happen in the game? Or
Yeah, they're already trying to connect it to, I forget what the game was, but yeah, they feel like after virtual reality, the next thing is connecting it directly into your brain.
And then is it like the Matrix where we're trapped in it, or is it a game and part of the game is that you don't remember anything from outside of the game?
Ooh.
I think, that Matrix theory might be the way it's, but if that's the way it's going, that means it's already like that right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And we're living
because
that life right now.
if somebody is playing like a game for 14 hours a day or more versus them playing in that virtual reality for 14 hours a day or more, are they the same simulation?
Or maybe a simulation of a simulation.
It's a different stimulation that you're getting from the simulation.
That is true.
Yeah. Speaking of which, guys, how do you guys feel about the stimulation that you gain from the actual simulation of your cell phone that we are so attached to in this day and age? Do you think that it's actually doing something positive for us? Are we slaves to this device already? Have we already been chipped?
Well, it is empowering in a way because we can reach out to other people through these networks, but it's also eroded our real life personal networks as well because a lot of our relationships we're satisfied with just maintaining them on that digital level, but also in the idea of our mind being in a simulation. If you think about your awareness when you're scrolling through Instagram or watching a string of YouTube videos or something like that, you're not sitting in your room. Your mind is in that video or in that scroll of watching different random things. So you're actually in. It's not a simulation, but you're in it. And your mind is in it, and when you get addicted to it, you're pulling out your phone every 2 minutes, checking this and that, and every time you do that, you're disconnecting from your environment. So it's almost like plugging into the Matrix, but in a way that we're so addicted that we do it voluntarily, like because we're so addicted to this world, and then
That escape from...
So
to
is
the
your
next world.
reality in the simulation of your phone, or is it in the environment you're in?
Well, in this concept, if you're taking in the idea that we're in a simulation, it's both. But then it becomes ridiculous, like the Rick and Morty episode, where like you're in a simulation, and then it's like, and then we put on the VR helmet, and we're in the VR helmet, and then in the VR game you put on another VR helmet, and then you get into this mirror of.
But that's a possibility because in video games, your video game character can play video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as a side mission or whatever. So
Grand Theft Auto.
yeah, there's levels to it.
Inception.
That's like the polar opposite of breaking the fourth wall. Oh man.
Yeah, because Amira plays Sims. I don't really play Sims, but if you think about it like that, like we could all just be Sims right now in some video game that some other person is playing. How do we know like this is actually happening? This is actually real life. It could just be a simulation of some advanced game.
And then the question I have is like, okay, if you play The Sims, are you your individual sim, or is like there a god or universe controlling all of us as Sims, right?
But why does it have to be like a god? It could just be a person.
It could just
This
be a
could
person.
just be some life simulator game.
Yeah, but I guess the reason why I say God is because it has to be like an entity that can control that many people at once.
Is it hard to control? Because it's just a couple clicks on your computer.
But to control every individual, though, okay, so if you're playing one sim and you leave them to be, technically the other sims have free will. So is some of our life free will and some of it controlled?
Well, you don't have that much control over the person in the Sims, right? In the game, you can direct them, which begs the question: is like us being the Sim character, are we being directed without knowing it? And we're still making our free will decisions, but things are coming in front of us for a deliberate reason. But then The Sims easily gets into religious topic and the idea of free will.
Absolutely.
Because like if you think about like if it's just such an advanced game, why would it be so hard for them to control millions of people?
I mean, that's
If
the
the technology
equivalent.
we have now, you can.
That's the
control how
equivalent
many
of like
Sims.
Sims versus SimCity, right? In SimCity, you're controlling that population, and like you're more controlling like the natural disasters where buildings are built, like roads, all of that, those things, traffic accidents, all those things, right? That's the bigger picture. And then there's the individual level of Sims where you're controlling like one Sim and everything they do. And it's actually really hard to control like multiple Sims at once, because while one Sim's doing one thing, you want the other to do another thing, and then you have to switch back and forth. So that's why it's like, I would think a god entity or like some superhuman, because like I don't have that much concentration to control that many Sims.
Well, I mean, the detail could be how you're manipulating a large group of people. So if you're SimCity, the god of SimCity, and you're just like, okay, well, I want to build this here and do that, right? And you say, I want to build this here, and you click on it. Really what you're doing is you're putting the inspiration into the business people who fund the project, the architects, and all the construction workers who take on the job, and
Right.
all the people who are in charge of making all the shipping all of the building products in and everything like that, and then they go. But and all you do is say, I want this there, and everybody who's involved in it thinks it's their idea, but they're getting the idea from this external source.
Right, so what you're saying is there are levels.
Yes.
Duality.
Multiple dualities.
Love it. All right, guys.
Anything else to say on the simulation?
yeah.
I think Alex can keep going.
Well, one interesting thing is the direction that Meta is going with the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And so what they're thinking, one thing that they're thinking about is you have this virtual world that you're in, and in your little virtual apartment, you've got all these super nice things. So the idea is, if you think about it, like 15 years from now, you live in some dumpy, disgusting place that's filthy and full of cockroaches, but you put your headset on and you're in a nice little condo.
Yeah.
So it's
They're
like
selling real estate
it's
and everything
freaky.
on Meta already. Like people are already setting up their lives on there. So
Yeah.
You can put like crypto art on there too.
yeah. I mean, it's all about like how many people are willing to invest in this fantasy, right?
A lot are. Apparently, Snoop Dogg holds a lot of very exclusive real estate in the meta already. So, yeah, it's pretty
There's
big.
a lot to think about here, because like in the metaverse, well, okay, does anyone know anyone in the metaverse yet?
no.
No.
No. So I know one person in the metaverse who explores the metaverse, who's been going to like classes in the metaverse and everything. And they've been telling me about it, and it's very interesting. That's why I know you can have like crypto art and stuff in there. But my question is like, you know, we think like the younger generation will be in the metaverse. That's what they'll grow up with. But I do think a lot of people in our generations in general are realizing the merit in being in the real world over being online. So like, how much do we think we will actually move to the metaverse versus just like wanting to be in our environment, as you put it?
Yeah, and how much has that kind of is like this kind of technology and all these kind of things are very new to us as like on a larger scale. So like we're super excited about it. So we're in it really hard, but who's to say that in a generation or two people are they're just not that into it the way they were before. It's got a place and people are moderate with it, but it's not like that's all you do kind of thing. So I don't know. I think it might be connected, because if you're like, okay, well, I want to experience some nice things, but I don't want to spend that much money, then maybe, oh, well, I get this VR program and then I can be doing this or whatever, or I can have AR in my house and then instead of painting my walls, I can change the color every day or something like that. So there's all kinds of interesting integrations of how that goes in there, and then where does that lead to? And then it goes back to your question: is if that's where it leads to, then what's to say that we haven't created it to that level already, right?
Yeah, we might just be. Yeah, it might just be created already. We might just be some advanced Sims. You never know, because I don't know. Have you heard of the Mandela effect? Anyone?
Yep.
Yep. There's just examples of things happening throughout the world that just seems like it is a simulation. People experiencing different things, people having different memories of different things. It's just a lot of weird things happening. That's just, how do you explain it except it's not real? It's just a glitch in some code that we're living in. So I don't know. It's
freaky.
I wanted to go off what you said, Alex. Are we excited about the metaverse?
Nope.
No.
Personally, me, no. I don't think I'll get into it, but...
Right? I feel like we all can share that perspective, which is interesting. Yeah. What's the duel? Being excited about the metaverse? I don't know if I have anything to say on that.
Yeah, not much to be excited about, but I will definitely be trying to stay aware of what's going on over there, at least for the most part, but not excited for it in any bit.
I guess the side that I've heard of being excited about it is that you can be whatever identity you want to be. So if you wanted to be an alien or like look like a alien, whatever, you could be that.
You could do that in any video game.
Yeah.
That's true. But I guess it's more you.
You can make your characters be your total likeness if you want. Good character creation.
Hey, in Sims you can be an alien.
But can I beat colonialism in the metaverse? I'm saying too much.
Is capitalism going to exist in the metaverse?
Yes.
Oh, of course it will.
It already does.
It already does.
It's based on capitalism.
I've heard you had to have like a certain amount of money to get the like Oculus Rift or whatever it's called, the headset to be in the metaverse, and that makes the experience so much better. And I'm like, wow, it begins again.
Tears of Elite. It already exists. Ladies and gentlemen, that's this week's episode of All About Duality. We want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you very much for listening and tuning in. Please leave all the comments you can as possible. We want to engage and get to know you guys better as our audience. Next week, we're going to be talking about relationships and therapy. So do tune in. I did say tune, not tune. So please tune in and give us another shot. Thanks for listening in. Hope to see you next week in class.
See you guys. Ding, ding, ding.